Hello, my name is Ryan McDevitt, and in today's video, I'm going to be evaluating a virtual tour of George Washington's Mount Vernon, which is located just 15 miles south of George Washington University's campus, a place I visited previously, so it was interesting to compare the virtual tour to the in-person tour that I took several years ago. Before I get started, I wanted to show you just the landing page of where the tour brings you. It brings you to the front of the house. You'll see there's lots of videos you click. This one's a welcome video. There's navigational tools to help you get around, and there's a pane here with different places that you can go on the grounds as well. And we'll dive deeper into the functionality of the site in a little bit. But first, I wanted to go back to the PowerPoint and talk about some of Clark and Meyer's design principles that are incorporated into the tour. First one being the modality principle. Most of the content in the tour is delivered via videos, so spoken word. Modality principle says spoken word is one of the better options for learners whenever possible, as opposed to making them actually have to read something on the screen. There's a lot of different options on the site to click for videos, and if you had to read all that content, it could be a bit cumbersome. The next is the redundancy principle. The tour was very successful in not duplicating spoken and written words to describe a location, and I'll show an example of that right now. So in this one, we're in Servants Hall. You see there's two options. One right here for fire buckets, describes an item in the corner, a picture of it with the written word. Next, right here, a video, an overview of the room. So I'm not going to make you watch it, but it just shows that it uses both practices, but not in conjunction, because that would violate the redundancy principle. Finally, there's very high learner control in this. I found it a bit overwhelming with all the options you had. You can click anything, skip anything, which might be a benefit to some, but for folks maybe just starting to get to know the grounds, it could be a bit overwhelming, and I was definitely in that boat. Now I want to look at the evaluation form that I used. I'm not going to read out every single one, but you can see on this screen how I evaluated it on 12 questions from Kathy Schrock's evaluation form, yes or no questions. Some of my biggest issues with it were trying to navigate the site. Like I said, there were a lot of options. It seemed a bit overwhelming. It could have been helpful to have maybe a suggested path or someone to help you along the way. One of the questions asked, was there a virtual guide to help you along the way? And there was not. Something I would definitely recommend going forward if Mount Vernon wanted to improve their website. Some of the pros and cons of using this evaluation form. The pro was it gives you a standardized form to evaluate different virtual tours, so you can compare one another to see how they fared. A con was I thought this form sort of forced you to compare the virtual and in-person experience, which I don't really think can be done. I don't think that's fair to the site or the virtual tour, because in my opinion there really is no replacement for going in person. I want to just talk about sort of the overall impression of the site and the tour. Like I said, I'd been to Mount Vernon before, so this wasn't new to me, but the virtual tour was a bit overwhelming to start. You can see here on the functionality side, just there's some buttons down here. You can't really click them until you click that. And once you do, it brings up a pop-up menu. You can do a VR tour, look at a map, which was helpful, but again, you shouldn't have the English or language selection option blocking that because it became confusing. Second, just look at all the options to pick, and that's just for this one site. You can keep going and go in lots of different directions. You could also use this drop-down menu right here, navigation tool, to go see all that. So just was a lot to sort of tackle at first. I think this could be a supplemental tool for someone who maybe wants to get an idea of the site before they go, or someone who had maybe recently visited and wanted to do some follow-up educational sort of just general interest to learn more about the site, because it is a lot to consume. The grounds are very big, but all in all, I enjoyed the virtual tour. Just don't think it's a replacement for the in-person experience.